We'll start with a big number, 4.3 million. That's how many claims the Texas Workforce Commission has gotten in about 4 months. They say that's equal to how many claims they would get in 6 normal years. A smaller number now, 61,940 more Texans filed for benefits just last week. Now, that's a lot of people, but just like the week before, it is a new low for unemployment filings since the pandemic began. Those who are on unemployment are no longer getting that additional $600 in federal payments each week. As Congress battles over what to do next about that, almost a third of people who are getting benefits say they won't make it through August without those extra $600 payments. And another study says that ending the federal supplement could have negative effects on the recovery because economists say people who've stayed employed, the blue line, have been spending less. But unemployed people getting enhanced benefits, the orange line, have actually spent more during the pandemic than they did before it. They say that spending actually helped to stabilize the whole economy. A few more notes here. Dallas County is accepting applications right now from people who live outside the city of Dallas but inside Dallas County who need rent, mortgage, or utility assistance. They are taking those applications through August the 20th. And finally, how low will they go? For the 8th time this year, mortgage rates have dropped to record levels. Maybe you consider refinancing now. Or maybe you wait to see if those rates dip even further. More info on the mortgage rates, that Dallas County Assistance Program, and more answers to more of your unemployment questions, all in today's article at Jason Wheeler TV, where we aim to help everyone stay right on the money.